What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I was actually thinking about making this video for a minute now, and I figured, you know what, after that one bike video of where the new bikes are, why not talk about something else? Am I the only one that thinks the other class in this game need more love? Now, a lot of players are going to be like, well, hold on a second, Block. What do you mean? We actually have way too many Street Tier 1 vehicles, way too many Tier 2, and also there is a lot of hypercars. Now, the reason for that is probably going to come down to the fact that many players enjoy them, and you know what? I can't blame you. Like the Tier 1, the Tier 2, the hypercars are a lot of fun. I do like them. But a lot of players keep wanting more of these cars to be added. Then we also have another side where players are now going to be asking where the motocross bikes are, the rallycross vehicles, more off-road vehicles like rally raid, even new power boats, and also new planes. Now I do understand a lot of people might not actually want to use a power boat or a plane, but I do feel like having more events based around the power boats and the planes would actually be pretty dope. And we all do know right now we did end up getting the Volume 2 off-road playlist, which I really did like that one, but I feel like we need more off-road events, and on top of that, more off-road vehicles. Like for example, guys, how many new off-road vehicles do we actually get? Now, I also want to mention though, we did actually get a few new vehicles that I'm sure many players did end up noticing. For example, the Ivory Tower side-by-sides. We also did end up getting like the Ford Broncos, and we also got the new Hummer EV. So yes, there is going to be a few of them, but I have been noticing many players requesting more off-road vehicles, not only for Rally Raid, but also the Rally Cross. I actually would say a lot of players would most likely love to have more of these in the game, but I do feel like most of the focus currently is going to be on the Tier 2 cars, and most likely the hypercars on top of that, the Tier 1 cars. And the thing about this though is, like, I do understand why they are most likely adding the Tier 1, Tier 2, and hypercars over everything else, and that is going to come down to one key factor. They are without a doubt the most popular classes in the game. I mean, most of the time players like doing grand races in those specific classes. Like if I had to guess right now, guys, and we did have PvP events that were separated, which we definitely need, would a lot of players actually do off-road events over like the main hypercar races? And I do feel like hypercar tier 2 and tier 1 would most likely be the most populated out of everything. Now who knows though, I could be wrong and they might actually have a bunch of people doing like rallycross and rally raid events, but I do know most people like the faster cars in the game, so we all do know that does mean most players would end up picking like the hypercars like the tier 2, and then on top of that like the racing and the alpha GP vehicles. But I just feel like having different events and stuff with more rallycross focused races would be so dang dope. Now hold on a quick second, I actually think I really just figured out why they have not added more rallycross vehicles, or at least it could be a theory that might actually be wrong, but let's see what you guys think. Maybe they're not actually adding a ton of the vehicles to the game because there's not that many events focused on rallycross or even rally raid that players would actually do. At the moment, I think right now in the game there is not that many rallycross races. Isn't there like 2 or something that you actually get to go on the dirt roads for them? They're going to have probably over 100 miles of actual dirt roads in that new island, so I'm going to say right now we are going to have a lot more events for rallycross. Now I also want to mention though, I'm not saying everybody's going to want just rallycross events, because you also have to show like rally raid, motocross, and other classes love. But like if we actually had a lot more roads and stuff like that and more off-roading areas, then I feel like every other class would most likely be getting love as well. And I also do know, guys, that not everybody is a big fan of off-road racing, or like, you know, not everybody is going to want to do it, and some people might like street tier 2 vehicles, some people might like hypercars. I respect that. But I also do feel like though a game that's going to be focused on a bigger variety of stuff really should have a big focus on all of it. And this is also something I have been thinking about for a while now. Like, we all do know the game is going to be focused on a bigger variety. I mean, how many racing games actually has a powerboat and a plane in it? Legit, guys, let me know in the comments below if you know another big racing game besides Grand Theft Auto that you can race a powerboat and a plane. You can go on a motocross bike, use motorcycles. Like Motorfest or like the Crew franchise is dope, because it really is like the only game you can actually drive this huge variety of stuff on it. And that is also why I think all of them need to have a similar part of love, and it's not going to be mainly focused on a street tier 2 vehicle or like something like a hypercar. Add some new rallycross vehicles in there, add some new rally raid, who knows, maybe even add a few dirt bikes into the game, and on top of that add a few powerboats, a few planes. Even though I do know not everybody's a big fan of those, at least they're actually going to be added into the game, and everybody can enjoy something that they do end up liking which in return is going to make a lot more players happy. They might tell their friends about it, and then in return that would most likely make a lot more players happier and also bring a lot more new players into the game because they're actually focusing on bringing basically every new class of vehicles into it instead of focusing on 2 or 3 of them. Now, as I did mention earlier, I do understand that yes, hypercars are obviously going to be incredibly popular, and you know what, man, I can't blame you. They are so fun, they're fast, and I do know most of the events and stuff like that are probably focused on them, probably because they are going to be quick, but I really do like off-roading and stuff like that. I find like rallycross vehicles very fun to use, and I also find myself using like a motocross bike doing some of the main events with those. Even though there is not that many of them, at least you can actually jump in, use some of those bikes and enjoy them. But imagine if we did actually have more variety of bikes that people have been asking for, a bigger variety of, let's say, rally raid, rallycross, and again, let's say we actually got some new powerboats and planes, which I would say a lot of players would like to see, but I also feel like many players might end up going, bro, why are y'all adding new boats and planes when we want this car, we want that one? I can definitely see that being a problem because I can understand it. But what if they actually throw in, let's say we did actually get a bunch of hypercars added. Maybe they add, let's say, 2 new hypercars, 2 new street tier 2 vehicles, and then 2 tier 1 vehicles. What if every single update on top of adding the popular vehicles like that, why don't they add something like 1 or 2 rallycross vehicles with them? Maybe add 1 or 2 rally raid and then add like a new powerboat, a new plane, and keep doing that every single update. We would actually end up getting a lot more vehicles being added on top of the ones players do want, and then on top of that we'd also end up seeing some of the other classes most likely getting more love than they currently do, which is not that much. And I do feel like a lot of players might look at certain classes in this game, let's say motocross for example, they might look and go, okay, this is really cool, but I'm also noticing how they do not care about them. We have not had any new ones whatsoever in legit years, so it is most likely going to be an afterthought while they focus on many of the other cars and stuff. And I do feel like some of the classes are in the game for basically no reason because we never get events focused on them or any new vehicles in that said category. I just feel like if they actually did end up adding some of the populated classes, like keep doing that, but on top of it, add something like a new motocross bike with them, add a new powerboat, add a plane, and so on. Like, I feel like that would be the best way to do it. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And what's funny about this though is I have been seeing way more comments popping up on Instagram, X, and also when they do end up releasing like a trailer for a new car on YouTube or even Instagram, everybody is starting to say, yo, where are the new dirt bikes at? Or like, where are the new motorcycles? Can we get more rallycross vehicles? Can we get more off-roading stuff? It is definitely starting to pop up, so who knows, maybe they might actually be like, yo, let's add some new rallycross vehicles or even new off-road stuff on top of everything else and keep everybody happy. And honestly, that is probably the best way to do it. The reason why I do say that is we all do know right now the potential the crew actually has. Like, this game can literally basically cater to every single person out there, whether they like bikes, off-road stuff, rallycross, you know, even monster trucks. Maybe someone actually likes boats, and who knows, maybe they like planes. You can actually jump onto this game and legit use everything. That is also going to be why they most likely should look into adding everything and not focusing on 1 or 2 classes. But again though, let me know what you think about this in the comments below.